So you are working with revenue department, you have some hierarchical structures that you approve maybe some bosses of yours, and this is a hierarchical structure, director, joint director, and many more positions are coming to categories. Like this is a government structure we are working. So for disaster management purpose, we also have some this hierarchical structure. For that, this topic is very interesting and you can understand. But so what was the major objective of this conference is to decrease the loss life from property destructions which are caused by solely from the sources of natural disasters. This was a conference which focusedly the major objective of this is to decrease the loss, or we can say decrease the impact of a disaster on the social economic conditions of our people. So this is the first conference. Another is Yokohama conference in 1994. This Sendai Framework conference in 2015. SDG setups in 2015, and United Nations Climate Change Conference, and Asian Ministerial Conference for Disaster Risk Reduction. This is a conference which is conducted in 2016, in which we have our Honorable Prime Minister's given a PM 10-point agenda. I will give you what they have given in the coming slide. So, Hoga Framework for Action, this has some priorities and some actions. So, major priorities of this Hoga Framework action is that we should make disaster risk reduction as a priority. We should make disaster not for a subject to understand. We should think that we should make this as a disaster as a priority. We should know the risk and take action. This is the second priorities of a disaster, this Yoga Framework for Action. Another is building understanding and awareness. We should understand and spread the awareness of a disaster. Fourth is reduce the risk, and fifth is to prepare and to ready to the act. In case of a disaster, if disaster occurs, we should always prepare and ready to act. Disaster management in India is like that. We are doing work for the response only. We are not focusing on the pre-disaster stages or during. We only work for our response. For that, if disaster occurs, we should give some compensation to the people, and we are okay. But there was a change, paradigm shift from this response-oriented approach to a multidisciplinary approach, because if we don't work in a preparedness, if we don't work in a pre-disaster stages, then we cannot say that we have done something good in a disaster management. So we should work for a multidisciplinary approaches. Like we should also work for mitigation, we also work for the training, we also work for the awareness, we also work for the response and recovery activities. So this we have already discussed. So these are the major disasters which occurred into the up to the 1993 to 2005, which has evoked the eyes of an Indian government or evoked the eyes of an Indian administration. That Latur earthquake 1993, we had lost approximately 9,500 people. In Odisha cyclone, super cyclone 1999, we lost approximately 10,000 people. In Bhuj earthquake, we lost approximately 13,805 people, and in tsunami 2004, we lost approximately 12,400 people, and Kashmir earthquake, we lost 13,000 dead, 6,300 injured. So these are the major disasters which evoke the eyes of an Indian government, or we can say administration of Indian people, that we have to work for the disaster management also, because if we not work, then this scenario maybe increases. So what happened? Then system was exposed, and we does not have any mechanism for the early warning system. We doesn't have any adequate early warning tools. We doesn't have any technological regimes or safe building, pure community awareness. So all these things were not in the position before the disaster management act enacted. So we shifted from higher powered committee, we shifted from relief centric approach to multidisciplinary approaches. I already mentioned you what is relief to what is multidisciplinary. We should not only work for the relief purposes. We should not work for the rehabilitation. We also work for the preparedness. We also work for the mitigation strategies of our country. And this roadmap, after these things, was emerged like National Roadmap for Disaster Management, development of a national institutional management framework, and enactment of Disaster Management Act 2005. This Disaster Management Act come as a tool of our disaster management country, which enacted as and it gave a holistic approach. Disaster Management Act 2005 has some features which emerges like that. Enactment was done on 23rd of December 2005, and it provided or established some major authorities like NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority. It is a national authority which works for the whole the nation, whole the country. Beyond that, we have SDMA, State Disaster Management Authorities. Below that, we have a DDMA. These are the three major institutions which are working, where policy, documents, guidelines are being made for irrespective of a disaster, irrespective of a districts, what are the problem of district, what are the problem of different states. So at NDMA make plans and guidelines at a national level, but it transfer to the state, and state, it is a state duty that it has to, it on the guidelines of the NDMA, they have to make their plans according to their circumstances, their problems or their disasters. At district level, they have to see, the state has made at a state level only. But district administration, it is a responsibility of the district that they should incorporate their problems also and then implement it to their own districts. So these are the positions which this Disaster Management Act given, and this also provide 2-3 more important things, that it Constitution of Disaster Management Response Force and NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management. So these are the two major organizations, for NIDM for capacity building and NDRF for disaster response force. Means it is a force which is dedicatedly work for the response oriented activities like search and rescue operations. So these are the things which are provided by, which are also written in a Disaster Management Act. You can download Disaster Management Act from NDMA website easily and go through it. So at a national level, this is an institutional setup. At a national level, we can say at a central level, we have National Disaster Management Authority, and where our Honorable Prime Minister is a chairman. And this national authority is also assisted by NEC, National Executive Committee, that is chaired by Home Secretary of our country. And as I already mentioned you, there are two more organizations which are working at a national level to assist the NDMA or to assist the MHA, that are NIDM and NDRF. This is the structure which we have at a national level. Once we come to the state level, we have state SDMAs. State SDMA, like in Kerala also have a state disaster management authorities, and Madhya Pradesh also. So every state has state authorities, where the head is Honorable CM of a respective state is a chairman of authority, and we also have a state executive committee at this state level, which is this chairman of this state executive committee is Chief Secretary of our respective states. So this is the second order, and coming to the third order, that is district administration. District administration, DDMA, District Disaster Management Authorities. Every state has SDMAs, and below the line we have district administrations. Like every work in, not only for the context of a disaster management, but every work throughout the country is governed like that: national level, state level, and district level. So these are the three major hierarchical structures. At a district level, we have a district collector, or we can say ADM, or district magistrate or a district collector as a chairperson of the authority, and it is also helped, or we can say second is Jila Parishad of a area is also a co-chairman of a authority at a district level. And below that district, we have two major components, that is Panchayat and municipalities. And can you read? Actually, I don't know why it is not showing color. Right. in this position. So at a national level, central level, we have NDMA. At a state level, we have SDMAs. At a district level, we have a DDMAs. So these are the authorities which are working into the disaster management in the country. What is the duties of a NDMA? What an NDMA perform at a national level? Headed by Prime Minister with a maximum 9 members and constitutes the DM management plans, and it also assisted by the NEC lay down the policies, plan, guidelines for a disaster management. And NEC should also prepare disaster management plan which was approved by the NDMA. So major work of NDMA is to lay down, the fourth point is lay down the policies, plan, guidelines for disaster management to the entire country, not only for the particular state, but for the whole country. And once these policies come to the state, they can mold and they can some changes according to their concerned districts, or according to their conditions related to the weather conditions, or maybe related to their the geographical conditions also. So these are the major things which NDMA perform, and also NDMA shall recommend guidelines for minimum standard of relief provided to a particular person affected by a disaster. So major purpose of this NDMA is to provide guidelines, plan, and the policies at a national level. Then they come to the state. These are the things which I already mentioned you. These are the this as already mentioned that NEC is also an ingredient which also assists to the NDMA in making disaster management plans, because as per the guidelines of NDMA, we have to make a disaster management plan, and it was very through the proper full-fledged plan of any university or any department or any institution. So we have to make, and this NEC is assisted in making a disaster management plan to the entire country, and this when NEC approved, then NEC sent to plan to the NDMA National Disaster Management Authority for their approval. Coming to the state disaster management authorities, Honorable respective CM is the chairperson of this SDMA, and SDMA has maximum 8 members nominated by the Chief Minister of the state, and Chief Secretary is the chairperson of State Executive Committee. And then what SDMA do? SDMA perform the same task which NDMA perform, making a guidelines, making the policies, and making some advisory things to the for the state, irrespective of their what they are doing. And SDMA consists of the advisory committee expert when it is necessary. After discussing this national and the state, we will come to the DDMA. DDMA, district magistrate, or district collector is the chairman of the committee, which is also co-chair and held by the Jilla Parishad of a district. So they make their plan according to their district conditions. Like if district is following the zone 4 of earthquake and district is commonly where we have encountered daily flood, then they can change the policies and they can change the guidelines according to their vulnerabilities, or according to their conditions of districts. Like NDMA make a plan up to in the, we can say English. The plan are made under the English languages, but everyone cannot understand English. So district administration mold their policies and they make policies into the local language also, that can understandable by the local people also. Because if plans are made in English and if they are not understandable to the people those living in the society, so it is a duty of local administration or local DDMA that they should make plan and policy into the local languages also, so that everyone can easily understand what is the policy and what are the guidelines for a particular disaster. This is the work of a DDMA. What Nidm do? Nidm is a national level organization or institute which work for the capacity building, and we at a national level provide a training program throughout the country with the different states on the different themes. And we also do research, we also do documentation, we do training programs, we develop training modules for a different topics or different perspective of a disaster management. So this we do at a national level, but we also emerge as a apex institute in the country for a capacity building training program. Another is, after at national level, Nidm, we have a NDRF. That is we are very commonly known as NDRF, but it is a response-oriented, dedicated force which work throughout the country for our search and rescue operations. We know that in case of any disaster, we generally say, please call NDRF. So NDRF is a very focused, and NDRF is a very, we can say, important ingredient of a disaster in the country, because they perform very difficult tasks in a disaster management. They do search and rescue operations. They help people in very difficult emergencies. They perform we can say because they are very trained professional people. They are not in a common man. So they can save the life, and they have put their own life jackets. They are very well aware about the disaster, that how we can save the people and what technologies and what equipments we can use in this disaster. So they are called for a search and rescue operations in any disaster. So if we say who is the head of NDRF, NDRF is headed by the DG level officer, who is IPS from any batches. And how many people are in there? There are approximately, in one battalion we have 1149, we have 1149 people in one battalion. And what is the constituted? It is saying this, that in one battalion, each battalion consists of a 18 specialist response team, SRT. SRT means search and rescue team. What one search and rescue team comprises of? One search and rescue team comprises of 47 personnel. 4 search and rescue teams, 1 medical support teams, 1 technical support teams, and 1 dog squad. These all comprises of one SRT. One SRT means 47 people in one battalion. There are 13 battalions presently working in the country. These are the positions, or these are the locations where NDRF is working. And this 13 one is Lodwala, Punjab, is new emerging battalion of NDRF which is working in the country. And these are the places where battalions are working, and you can contact them in case of emergency, or you can contact them for any mock drill. Your institute can invite them for a mock drill. They will provide you a professional training of the concerned disaster. These are the nodal ministries which are working in the disaster management, that if we face disaster like flood, tsunami, cyclone, earthquake, then Ministry of Home Affairs is the nodal ministries for concerned disasters. For a drought, Ministry of Agriculture. For biological disasters, we have seen Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. For chemical, Ministry of Chemical Disaster, Ministry of Environment and Forest. Nuclear disaster, Ministry of Atomic Energy. Air accident, Ministry of Civil Aviation. Railway accident, Ministry of Railways. So these are the nodal ministries which are working for disaster management. So as on the first slide, I have give you that our Prime Minister has given a 10-point agenda. These are the 10 points which are output of a conference AMCDRR. So what these principles, what this PM 10-point agenda focusedly, these are the points. For that, and these are the points, but what are the major points which is highlighted? First is that we should also give a chances to a women participation into the disaster response. In the disaster, we should also include women participation, because if women are not included, then it is not possible, because women are also a part of a society. So we should increase the participation of a woman. It is written on the third point that greater involvement of leadership of women in disaster risk management. Another point is 6th point, that is network of university for disaster issues. we should combinedly work for disaster management, and we should incorporate maximum universities, because if our children are going to a university and they have some basic knowledge of a disaster, so it is very important for them also and very important for the society. So this 6th point is very important, which is making a university networks. For that, our institution, National Institute of Disaster Management, is form IUN platform, Indian University Network platform, in which many universities can enroll themselves and take a membership. So DM is a collectively responsibility of state, central government and the district administrations. And every man, if as a common man, we can be a first responder if we have some basic information and if we have basic knowledge of a disaster, how to save the life of people, we can act as a first responder in any disaster. So these are the National Institute of Disaster. These are the organizations which we have already discussed. And there is some policies which have occurred at a national level, because Disaster Management Act come in 2005 and this policy come in 2010. So there might be some chances, there might be some differences. So for compensate these things, this policy, the national policy on disaster management has been formulated and approved in 2000, and it gave lay down the direction to the government endeavors, and copy of these things, copy of this Disaster Management Act, copy of what is the institutional mechanism of a country is enclosed. We can download from the www.ndma.gov.in. So this is the official website of NDMA. You can go and download the Disaster Management Act and have a look. So this is the institutional framework for a country. We at a state, we at a national level, we have a NDMA, which is also NDMA. This NDMA is assisted by NEC, National Executive Committee. At a state level, we have SDMAs assisted by SEC, State Executive Committee. Below the line, we have a DDMA, who is the chairman of and DDMA is district collector or district magistrate, also co-chair by the Jilla Marshal of a state, of a district. So this is the hierarchical order of our country in which we are working from state to the district. Below the district, we doesn't have any authorities, because there is a major reason behind that is, below the district we have a municipalities, we have a panchayat, we have a blocks level. So all these policies, guidelines, plans, those are coming from the national level. They are implemented at municipalities, blocks or the panchayats level. So below the DDM district level, we doesn't have any authority. We implemented these policies at this level, like panchayat and municipalities. So this is the hierarchical order of our country, in which our country is working, like state, NDMA, SDMAs and DDMAs. If you have any query, you can ask. Thank you for giving time.